Cricket is America's first team sport. It was brought here by the English, as they took it everywhere in the world. And cricket was played by the American colonists. It was played by George Washington's troops. There's documentation of them playing it at Valley Forge. Abraham Lincoln went to cricket matches before he was president. Cricket was our team sport. Now here's what happened to cricket. You're wondering, well, why did it die out? What happened was, before the Civil War, there were two kinds of classes of Americans. You had your wealthy landed class, who really didn't work. And then you had everybody else. Well, everybody else didn't have time to play any sports, because you were working all the time. And that was basically your life. You worked, and you kept your house up, and you ate. The wealthy landed people had other people working for them, so they had lots of time on their hands. And these are the people that played cricket. And a cricket match can go on for 5 days in its unlimited form. But this is no problem if you have lots of other people doing all the work for you, because you have nothing but time on your hands. If you're not going to read Greek, let's go out and play cricket. So the wealthy landed class in America were your original cricket players. They formed very rich, expensive cricket clubs. They got together on their beautifully manicured lawns and played wonderful games before politely applauding audiences of their other rich friends. Well, this was fine for America up until the Civil War. During the Civil War, two things happened. Well, in the Civil War, you had lots of guys stuck in one place with lots of free time on their hands. So they wanted something to do. But their officers, of course, would not allow them to have a 5-day furlough to play a cricket match. So they had to find some way to modify the sport. So they modified it in what we now know as baseball. There are other versions too that came out of it, like Rounders is another version. Versions of cricket became modified so they can be played in a short period of time by a whole lot of people. After the Civil War, the working class began to develop this incredible concept called leisure time. And soon they could play sports too. But again, they didn't have enough leisure time to play cricket over 5 days, so they instead adopted baseball, and baseball becomes the national pastime because it's really the only leisure sport for the working man in the last half of the 19th century. So cricket is left to the aristocracy, in their expensive cricket clubs, and the working man, most average Americans, end up gravitating toward baseball. By the 20th century, baseball became king. Cricket was left in its last vestiges, of the rich populations in certain places, and it sort of died out. Until, like I told you earlier, until it revives itself at the end of the 20th century with immigration from cricket-playing countries. Now, the good news is, cricket today is not just the unlimited 5-day sport. Cricket today has been modified because, as it turns out, there are working people all over the world, and they want to play cricket too. So they've modified the sport. Another shorter version is called a one-day international version. It's a one-day sport where it can be played in an 8-hour period of time. Now, that's still a long time to go to the ballpark. Okay, and a lot of people don't like to sit for 8 hours and watch a sport. So they've modified it even farther to what's called a 2020 is the version of this game. I'm not going to get technical, but this is a cricket match that we played 3.5 hours. And it's more typical of what you would expect if you went to a soccer game or a baseball game or a football game. It's the standard spectator sport period of time. This is the popular version that's rising in America and all over the world because it fits in well with our spectator sport atmosphere. So cricket has found its way to come back through this new version of the sport. Now let me tell you about how cricket and baseball are similar and how they're dissimilar. Cricket is a ball and bat sport just like baseball. As I just told you, baseball comes from cricket. So you hit the ball, you try to score runs, and you make a high score and hope to outscore the other team. But imagine baseball where there's no foul territory. Doesn't matter where you hit it, the ball is in play. Imagine baseball where if you hit a home run, it's worth 6 runs. If you hit a ground rule double, it's worth 4. And imagine after you hit your 6-run home run, you got to keep batting until the pitcher got you out. If the pitcher never got you out, you could bat during your entire team's time. You personally could be responsible for 50, 100 runs in this one game. Okay? Cricket is all about scoring runs. Where baseball, it's easy to get out, hard to score runs. Cricket, easy to score runs, hard to make outs. Okay? This is the big attraction for kids. Kids do not get excited about foul balls and ground outs. Okay? Kids want to be the hero. They want to score runs. They want to run back and forth. They want to be the savior of their team. You can't do that when you're fouling the ball off down the third baseline or striking out. There are no balls and strikes in cricket. When the ball is thrown to you, you can choose to hit it. You can choose not to hit it. If you hit it and don't like where you hit it, you can choose not to run and wait for the next pitch. Okay? It's all about the batter. Okay? And the cool thing is, let's say you're a terrible batter. Let's say you're the worst batter on the face of the earth. Let's say you're Jamie who forgot his glasses that day. You cannot hit the ball and still score 50 runs for your team. Because, you know how there's a wild pitch in baseball? Well, imagine that behind your catcher in cricket is called a wicket keeper, there's 50 yards of open space. And the runners can take off and run and score as many runs as they want during the time the fielders are chasing down the wild pitch. This happens in cricket. It's called, you can call it a wide, but if it gets away from the wicket keeper, the runners take off and they just start scoring runs. You could never hit the ball and still score 5 runs at a time. It's a high-scoring game. It's a high-energy game. And one of the kids I coached at Gibbon said it's like baseball without the boring stuff. Like, the pitcher checking the runner at first, and snapping off the rubber, and then the foul balls, and ball 1, ball 2. Cricket, it's all about action and scoring runs. And that's what really draws the kids in. As PE teachers, something else you're going to like is cricket forces your kids to participate as individuals and as part of a team. In cricket, the whole team bats. Okay? And then the whole other team bats. So there's no hiding somebody at the end of the order. They will bat. Okay? And once you get good with the game, you can let them all bowl as well. A bowler is what a pitcher is called in cricket. They can all bowl as well. So you get to see the kids individually, one at a time, and then as participants in the entire team as they work together. Now I'm going to explain to you the differences with baseball that are going to become apparent. In baseball, you have 4 bases. Okay? In cricket, you have 2 wickets. You'll see this outside. We'll set them up out there. You have a wicket here and a wicket there, and there are a batter at each end at the same time. One batter occupies each wicket at the same time. Of course, there's only one ball, so only one person can be hitting at a time. The other one is kind of like a runner. The person hits the ball, the object is to hit it to a place where the runners can run and switch sides. And every time they run to each other's side, it's a run for your team. So if the fielders are particularly bad and throw the ball around, you can literally keep running back and forth and back and forth, and like a pinball game, ding, 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 the runs just mount right up. So for fielders, it's important to be organized and get the ball in quickly. For the 2 runners, the 2 batters on the pitch, they have to be partners. They have to know each other and they have to talk. And the reason they have to know each other is I can't take off just because I can make it. I have to know that my partner can make it. I also have to know that my partner's on the same page as I am. When they cross each other, what cricket batters will do is they'll talk as they pass. Let's say I hit the ball and I decide that's going to be worth 2 runs. We're going to go twice. As I cross my partner, I say, again, again, again. Now that tells him or her, turn and go, because I'm not stopping. Or, as you pass, you might say, stop, stop, stop. Now we know that's enough. But if you don't know your partner and you don't communicate with your partner, what's going to end up happening is somebody's going to end up hung up in the middle, and they're going to get out. Which brings me to outs. How do you make outs in cricket? Very similar to baseball. If somebody hits the ball into the air and it's caught, the batter is out. If somebody hits the ball to a fielder and the runners are in between, but not back at their wickets, and the ball is taken and thrown at the wicket, and these sticks here are called stumps, are knocked over, the runner is out. You can't get a double play in cricket. You're going to get one person out at a time. So the runner can be gotten out that way. The third way is being bowled out. That's kind of like being struck out in baseball. That's where the pitcher throws the ball. It's called a bowler in cricket. The batter does not hit the ball, or maybe even just tips it. But instead of hitting the ball hits the stumps behind them, knocking them over, and they're out. So there are 3 basic ways. Now, in truth, the adult game is a lot more complicated than this, because we all know that grown-ups always love to make things complicated and difficult to understand. And cricket's done an excellent job at this. There's one rule which I will not punish you with, called LBW, leg before wicket. Because one thing that teachers always ask me is, well, what if Jimmy just says, I'm not going to let you hit my wicket because I'm going to stand right in front of it? So now you can't get it, can you? Well, in real cricket, if you block the wicket with your body, you're called out, leg before wicket. You can't block the wicket with your body. It's cheating. But the truth is, there are so many variations of the rule and complicated details that have come into play since they originally thought of it, that now it takes like a committee of 7 to determine if somebody's actually out or safe. They have people in a booth with a video camera and computers to say which direction the ball would have gone in. You'd be a little